Friday night. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Unapologetically Keith. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9:30 to 10 o'clock. But this week we're going to go to 10:30. I know it because we're covering a very sensitive subject in domestic violence. And I cannot cover it in a half an hour. I have not covered it in a half an hour. So I'm pretty sure we're going to go to 10:30 tonight. So you're going to rock out with me. And so let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Hey, Sister Smith. Thank you, Tony, for showing up. Thank you so much for sharing. And so I am streaming on Facebook Live, Periscope, and YouTube Live. So because I'm streaming on 3 different platforms, I can see who's watching. So the only way that I'll know you're there is if you come into the chat room and introduce yourself, and I will gladly acknowledge you as you've seen. The family is good. I am good. I'm actually tired tonight, but I'm going to rock out tonight, and then I'm going to try to get some sleep. I've been burning the candle at both ends, so I'm a little beat tonight, but I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. And so also, if you're watching on Periscope, make sure that you tap that screen so you can give some hearts. That lets me know that you enjoy the content. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure you like and you share. And remember, if you share, drop a little comment to let the person know what you're sharing and why you're sharing. Hey, Queen Nikita. Hey, Keita, I want to hear your voice, because people need to know how you think. They need to hear you on some of these subjects because they don't get to come by your page like I do. So thank you for showing as usual. I appreciate the support. So I can actually tell if you coming in to get rest. Yeah, I am. I've been up since like 7:30, I think, this morning, but I'm good. We're gonna get through this. Because I don't have any other shows until Monday. And so again, if you're watching on those 3 platforms, please make sure that you pop into the chat room. That's how I know that you're here. And as I said, please make sure that you share. And so I am just happy to be here. As I have introduced myself, I am Keith K.L. Belvin, crisis specialist. I use all of my gifts, my talents, everything that I have to try to help people in whatever situations they may be in. And in doing so, it is how I try to just offer some type of assistance. So in any form of crisis, this is what I do. And this week, we have been covering domestic violence. And I got a feeling that we're probably going to have to do part 4 on Monday, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to the 2 parts that I wanted to talk to tonight, but we're going to see. Also, what I'm going to do, probably by the end of the night, we're probably going to set up a Zoom chat, because we have a lot of young ladies who have expressed to me that they are survivors, and I would like to have a conversation with the women who are survivors of domestic violence in a Zoom room, so we can all see each other and we can share, and you guys can actually just let me know what that looks like and how you were able to get out of that situation. I definitely would love to see your faces, because in this way it can help me going forward. So I will give information on how to reach out to me, so to let me know if you want to be involved, and if you're willing to share your story, I will definitely do that towards the end of the night. But I got a feeling we're going to be here for a little while. And so again, I want to say thank you to everyone that has tuned in. And if you're watching on replay, please make sure that you pop chat room that you are watching on replay, and I will gladly jump in. It goes down in the chat room. I can just tell you, Monday and Wednesday, they were not playing because we have some folks in the chat room, and I can just tell you that from Tony and Nikita, and I know the rest will start to pop in and pile in. But we've had social workers, we've had grief workers, grief counselors, we've had survivors, we've had a little bit of everybody in the chat room, women workers. We've had a little bit of everything these past couple shows. And anybody watching this, let me just say this right now, and I think that I think I still have the national hotline number up, but do I? Let me make sure. I want to put that up because I want to start that off first, because before I get into any of this conversation, I want to put this up first. Now, to anybody watching me, please, 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 if you are in a situation right now where you are being hurt, and again, as you heard us say all week, love is not supposed to hurt. If he or she loves you, they are not supposed to be beating on you. If you need assistance, that is the national number right there. Call that number. That is the hotline right there. Call. get you the assistance that you need. And it starts with taking one step. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you climb a mountain? One step at a time. Start to make the moves to get yourself out of the situation. You can go back and watch the other two shows. There's a lot of information. But if you come by my Facebook page and just read the chat room comments, you will find all of the assistance that you need. But if you watch the show, if you watch the live here, you're going to get it. Hey, Kira, welcome, darling. How's everything? Hello to you as well. So let's get started, guys. Let's get into this because we got a lot to cover tonight. And like I said, I got a feeling I'm not going to be able to get into all of it. So what I'm actually going to do is we may have to do part 4 on Monday. I had a feeling that we might. All right, so getting my bearings up under me here. All right, let's get started tonight, guys. Now, we've talked about what is domestic violence on Monday, but now we're going to look at what actions are considered domestic violence. And I thought about this when creating this when doing some research, is that it's easy to say, well, this is domestic. We talk about abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, and then we talked about digital abuse. But I really want to look at the actions individually because I want folks. Thank you so much for reposting that, Tony. You're on your game tonight. I really want us to look at the actions themselves. Because anybody watching, you have to, if you see this or you're experiencing this, you got to say something. Okay, so here we go, right here, several violent actions or compromised behaviors, often associated with domestic violence. Abusers will use these maneuvers. That's not part of the caption here, but I have it here on my sheet. These are the maneuvers, and I believe it's 9 that I'm going to go over tonight. Hey, Sister Katisha, good to have you. Hello, hello, hello. Another lovely young lady who shares my stuff and supports me. I appreciate you for coming in tonight. Thank you so much, sister. Okay, so we're going to look at several actions, threats, compromised behaviors, often associated with domestic violence. Abusers will use these maneuvers. So if you're ready for the first one, put a number 1 up in the chat room. This is, again, for me to get connected to you guys, keep you guys on your toes as well. So we got Queen Nikita who popped in, we got Tony, and we have Katisha. And Katisha, thank you. So, and am I saying it right, Katisha? I want to make sure I get it right because I have a thing about names. So if I have it wrong, please try to help me out if I'm saying your name wrong. So it is Katisha, right? Or is it Katisha? I don't know. I want to make sure I got it right. But again, welcome. I'm glad you decided to tune in tonight. All right. So put a number 1 up in the chat room if you want to look. There we go. Here's the number 1s. There we go. All right, one of the first maneuvers that, got you, Katisha, got you. One of the first maneuvers that a person will do, and this is what I want to talk about exactly. Abusers will use these maneuvers and the 9 different maneuvers. Here's the first one, okay? Intimidation. And again, remember, when we're talking about domestic violence, we're talking about male or female. Now, it is mostly female in the United States, but Katisha, got you. My sister's name is Letitia. That's why I wanted to make sure it's so easy for me. Katisha, I got you. But appreciate you. I love it. Straighten me out when it comes to names. But in the United States, it's mostly women, but men do get abused too. But here is one of the first ways that the partner will use to keep their partner in line. Intimidation. They attempt to intimidate. They attempt to make their partner feel scared, fearful, whatever they can get out of making them feel like this is where you better be and you better not say anything. So intimidation is the first thing. Now, I didn't put these in any particular numeric order, but I did put this one up first because in my time of having to deal, and I haven't dealt with too many, I've dealt with one man that was getting abused, and he finally decided to leave. It took us a little while to get him to just know it was time to go. And as we get deeper, you'll understand. That's why I said I don't know if I'll get to the second part tonight. But it was, his lady was always trying to intimidate him and almost trying to bait him into putting his hands on her. And it was psychologically frustrating. Now, on the other side, we know that men will try to intimidate their women to the point that she is paralyzed into believing that help can ever come. That's why anybody watching, you hear me say one step. Start with one step. Start with one step to get yourself out of that situation, pushing back to the negative, but intimidation is the first one. All right, moving on to the second one, guys. All right, and if you're with me, throw a 2 in the chat room. All right, here we go. Now, when you have intimidation, this is the one that goes along with that. Manipulation. They will attempt to manipulate the situation. They will attempt to move you into a position where they are always in control by always seeming that they're right. Thank you so much, Katisha. They will always make you feel like they are right. They will make you believe that they have the answers to everything. Even when in your mind you're going, that's not even what happened. They don't care. So they will combine the intimidation and the manipulation. So again, they're starting to chip away. And remember, I said this on Monday. In a domestic violence situation, the person is literally trying to steal your soul. They are trying to make you a slave to everything that they want while not allowing you to even think for yourself. And the abuse can be so egregious that the person literally gives up their will. We talked about that. Actually, that was one of the definitions, that the person literally tries to break the will of the person that they're with. And that's not love on any level. None. God did not create you to be somebody's slave, to be up under somebody, to have you in such a degree that everything about you is folded up into a ball that they can play with. That's not the case. Okay. So manipulation. Thank you so much, Tony. And I just want that understood. And again, if you're watching this for the first time, stop by my Facebook page and make sure that you read some of the comments, because hey, Kim, welcome tonight. You are hearing from women who are survivors. And some of these women that are posting in this chat room have gone through this, have freed themselves from this, and they have something to offer. That is the reason why I want to move to the Zoom room, to give the ladies a chance to actually have a conversation, get to meet each other, and I can get to meet all of them and we can talk. Okay, moving on to number 3. Throw a number 3 in the chat room. All right, as we move on, I'm not going to move too quickly, but I got a lot that I want to try to get over, but I'm going to go as far as I can go. And if I got to do it on Monday, we'll do it on Monday. Okay, so again, we're going to keep it going. So once you have the intimidation and you have the manipulation, now the humiliation. Now your partner will try to humiliate you. The victim will believe the abuser the victim will believe the abuser. I know I did. I was so afraid. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you, Tony, for sharing that. Good evening, everybody, Kim says. And Kara puts up the 3. Got you. So humiliation. They will attempt to humiliate you. So again, think of this. The person is trying to break you down to such a degree that you will only move when they say move, breathe when they say breathe, that everything that you think is needed in your life. T to the Y. I was wondering when you was going to pop in. What's going on, my brother? Welcome to the party. They will try to treat you in such a fashion that you will give in. And again, I want anybody watching to keep that premise at the front of their thoughts, that it is everything that I'm giving you tonight is designed by the domestic abuser to destroy your will in such a way that you will literally just be open to whatever they say do, no matter what it is, no matter how vile it is, no matter what it is. So intimidation, manipulation, humiliation, that's the 3. We're going to move on to number 4. So again, pop a number 4 in the chat room so I know you're with me, and I'm going to move on and get the caption for you. And by all means, if you have something to offer, throw it in the chat room. I will gladly add it to the conversation, because the true strength of these shows here are you guys in the chat room. Is that I can sit here and just run off and look into the camera, but it really goes down in the chat room. Nikita says, yes, they will break you down to the point that you actually start believing you are trash. Thank you, Kita. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, and that's so true, because that is the key, guys. And this is what we have to look for, because if we know our friends, if we know our family members, if we know folks around us, and all of a sudden you just see them acting in ways that's totally not them, you got to pay attention to this. And for you ladies that have survived this is what a lot of the women need to hear, is that they're able to get past it. often a lot of these women don't believe that they can get past it. So you guys that are sharing, I appreciate you, because we got a heavy lineup in this chat room here, and we got folks who got some alphabets behind their name giving this information, but it has nothing to do with your educational experience. It has to do with the fact that you took your soul back. And that's what I love about the ladies in this chat room. I don't think too many of the gentlemen have gone through this, but it's the chat room who have shared, and they've taken their soul back after going through some hell to get there. Tony says, reason so many will not say anything because of being full of shame. Yes, yes. And we'll get, that's part of it too. Now, number 4, isolate. Now, that's another thing too. I can't do all this abuse where everybody can see it. And I'm saying me, I've never placed my hands on a woman. They have to isolate their victim. They have to isolate her, him, away from their family, friends, and anybody else that can help. A lot of times they just stay in the house. They don't show up. And if they do show up, they're covered up, so you don't see the bruises and everything else. But they isolate, so this way the person has no friends. They have no outlet. They want to monitor everything. They are literally a prisoner in their own home and in their own body and in their own head. So we have intimidate, manipulate, humiliate, and isolate. So, of course, the next one, give me number 5, guys. Stay with me, and I love you guys that are right there with me. Number 5, put up a number 5. Yeah, I'm going to put you to work tonight. I'm going to sleep good tonight. I'm not going to lie. And the crazy part is I don't drink coffee, so ain't no caffeine infusion for me. T to the Y says, isolation also consists of preventing them from reading or watching TV. Yes, sir. Come on with it. Come on with it. Thank you, T to the Y. That's true. Kim says, yes, it's a long road, but it's so worth it when you get out. Thank you. Please, guys, if you are watching, if you need motivation, just come into the chat room. We have social workers and survivors, doctors. We have it all in here. We have everything in this chat room that you need to be able to see that it is doable for you to get out of your situation. Number 5, they will frighten. They will try to frighten you so much, they will threaten to kill you, your mom, your dad, the children, the dog, everything. Tony says, afraid to go places because you're afraid to be questioned, have to rush home, can't even enjoy yourself when the family, friends. Yes. And you know what? I've seen that. My wife and I, 2 different young ladies. And it was sad because the young lady is still with homeboy. And I was like, really? And it was sad because when others called him on his behavior, she was like, no. He was like, he's not. But your eyes are swollen. And they're married to this day, and he's still disrespecting her. And she just can't get out. And it's sad because when the police would come and anything else, what's going on, Flex? Great to see you, brother. She would just basically not give the police a chance. And I mean, everyone around her was trying. And even to this day, she's married him and still with him. And I believe it's Stockholm syndrome, which means you start to fall in love with your captor. You start to fall in love with the abuser to the point that you just stop feeling and seeing the abuse. It's just part of the relationship. And the second person I seen, I was with her and we were talking when he showed up. And when she was sitting to my inside and he was like, come on, let's go. I said, she's talking to me. And I noticed that he wouldn't make eye contact with me, but he kept staring at her. I said, she's talking to me. And I asked her, do you want to go? I said, you don't have to go. You can stay right here. And he was like, you don't tell. I said, bro, shut your mouth. You can't tell me nothing. And I noticed that he didn't want to engage me, but he wanted to engage the woman. And when I asked, I said, you sure you want to stay here? And the reason why is because I had already knew his history. Her girlfriend had already filled me in on it. And she literally said, I have to go. And I was like, no, you do not. And she's like, no, I have to. And then I found out he beat her that night. And I have no respect for a man that beats on a woman. That's me. I don't care what anybody says. I have no respect for a man that puts his hands on a woman, because I was raised in a house full of women, and I was also raised, you don't ever put your hands on any of them. And I have no respect for a woman that puts her hands on a man who thinks that it's okay to do so, because often a man is trying so hard not to go to jail, but, this is what we deal with. Kim says they will have you afraid to come home to your own house. Yes. So number 5. So we got intimidate, manipulate, humiliate, isolate, and being frightened. But there's a next step from being frightened that a lot of abusers will take it to. Let's go on to number 6. What's going on, Larry? We got Trini back in the house tonight, so I know the chat room is going to light up now. We got everybody here. Real quick, let me just run through. Put a number 6 in the chat room as we go on. Let me just give a shout out to everybody here. We got Flex, we got Larry, we got Tony, we got Kim, we got Kira, we got T to the Y, we got Katisha, we got Queen Nikita, And I believe Kira is still with us. I think that's everybody. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. Let me just make sure because I want to shout everybody out as they come in. Okay, so I think that's everybody. And again, guys, it's going down the chat room because these guys don't be playing. They be holding whole conversations while listening to me. So going on to number 6. Once you have a person frightened, the next thing you have to do is you got to ramp it up. And this is number 6. And this is what ramping up means. Now you have to terrorize them. You have a person frightened. Now you got to terrorize them. Here is where you want them so frightened. You want them so intimidated, so nervous that they won't tell a soul. And and we talked about Color Purple on Wednesday, guys. Color Purple is my favorite movie simply because as a former educator, well, actually, I'm always teaching. Color Purple is a fantastic movie when you want to talk about abuse because there's so many levels that you can show how Nettie didn't even have Celie didn't even have a chance because her father was already abusing her. So the abuse started early. So she was already abused and then traded off to another person to be abused. Then she wasn't or didn't feel that she was attractive. So she was already being treated badly socially. And as you just see the whole movie unwinding, you see that the only person that loved her was Nettie. But because we know that Nettie would fight and continue to fight. So it's not shocking that Nettie was able to get away from that because she was a fighter, but she would try to protect Celie. So Mr. understood, let me break them apart. Because he wanted Nettie, couldn't have her, so I'm going to abuse the other sister that I didn't really want, but I'll do whatever. And by keeping her away from the very person, and as she said in the movie, and all of us know every line from Color Purple, I know y'all know like I know, the only person from me who ever loved me. So imagine getting to that point, but still being with the person who did that. That's why I said there's so many psychological levels to Color Purple that you could have wonderful conversations about, and we may talk about that in the Zoom room when we get the chance, because again, I want to have all you ladies and gentlemen, it's open to the guys too, to come in and join. So now we have number 6 was terrorized. All right, number 7, hiding her mail. Oh yes, hiding her mail all those years. But also, you know what? I don't think as bad as he was, there was something inside him that he started to care somewhat. Very small amount, but there's a whole lot we can talk about with that. So moving on to number 7. Put a number 7 in the chat room and rock out with me as we move on. Because now that you have intimidated, manipulated, humiliated, isolated, frightened, and terrorized the person, what else could be done? Real simple. Now they're going to blame you for it all. Now they're going to blame. If you hadn't have said that, I wouldn't have beat you. If you hadn't have cooked the food that way, I wouldn't have beat you. If you hadn't have breathed that way, I wouldn't have beat you. If you hadn't have looked at my friend that way, I wouldn't have beat you. If you hadn't have talked to the mailman that long, I wouldn't have beat you. If you hadn't have put my dog to the side like that, if you hadn't have spoke to my son that way, let me tell you, I've heard some of the stupidest reasons why men have put their hands on a woman when they've been in domestic situations. And again, the blame is again to psychologically destroy the person. Remember, the person is trying to steal your soul. The person is trying to break your will down to such a degree that you come away feeling so empty that the only thing you have is him, or the only thing that you have is whatever he gives you or whatever she gives you. And again, all these are connected because remember, these are all maneuvers that the abuser uses to abuse you. So these are all maneuvers. Every one of these that we're going, and we're not done yet. All of these are maneuvers that the abuser uses to abuse you. So again, anybody watching this, the chat room, all you got to do is come to my Facebook page and look at the chat room. All you have to do is come into the chat room and just see that there's tons of conversation going. And the one thing, there's somebody here to help you. If you need me, reach out. All my information I'll give out at the end, but I'm here to help you. If you just need to talk, we can do that. This is what I do. I do this on a regular because somebody has to stand in that gap and say it cannot be like this on a regular. Tony says, if you should have just shut up, or but you have to keep yapping your mouth. Exactly. That's another reason why he'll blame you. Get satisfaction, Flex says. Tony says, I still have triggers. I got you. And then Keita says the blame game. And I think I just saw somebody else say the blame game as well. Kim said the blame game as well. Yes, they will always blame you as if You're the reason why they just decided to beat on you. All right, moving on to the last two. All right, put a number 8 up as we get to the last two. Put another 8 up. You guys are wonderful in the chat room. Y'all are giving me life today. I came in a little tired, but I'm up now. I'm ready now. I'm good. I'm gonna sleep good tonight, but y'all got me going. Let's go. Number 8. Let's put an 8 up in the chat room. So let me just see. We got a couple that popped in here. So we got Queen Nikita's here. We got Tony. We got Flex that came in. We got Kim. We got Larry. I thought I saw Justin pop in. We got Kira. We got Nikita. Let's see. We got T to the Y is here. We got Katisha here. I thought I saw Justin was here. There we go. Yeah, Justin's here. We got Larry here. And I think I have everyone. Is that everyone? Yeah, I think I've shouted out everyone because, you know, I like to make sure I give credit where credit is due. Thank you for the number 8. We're going to move on a second. I just got to scroll my thing down here. There we go. All right, number 8. So now that we've had all these lines of abuses, here's we close it out. Sometimes they simply want to hurt you. They want to hurt you because, hey, there we go. There's Justin. There's Trini. T to the Y says, blaming and accusing go hand in hand for the abuser. They use deflation, accusing the person of something they are doing. Yes, that is the psychological that we talked about on Monday, guys. So here's the thing. They really do want to hurt you because it is through the pain that you give in. Now, all of us that are children of faith, all of my brothers and sisters that follow the faith know that the Lord did not design us to be someone's slave. We all have unique talents that make us someone special on this planet. So what a person will do is these 8 maneuvers, and I got one more for you. These 8 maneuvers are designed to try to get you to give away the very thing that God said he would never take from any of us, and that's our free will. Now, whether you believe in the Lord or not, that's okay, because at the end of the day, these 8 maneuvers are real. And whatever you believe in that's going to help you bring somebody out of this situation, lean on that. Because this is not what someone is created for. And if you're watching this, and I don't know who needs to see this tonight, but if you're watching this and you know that any of these things are being done to you, get out of that situation. Because the longer you stay, the greater your chances of dying at the hands of this fool. Get out of that situation. Keita says, yes, I realized that life was much more than being thrown through a fence, walking around with sunglasses because of a black. Thank God every day for sparing my life. Yes, and I thank God that you're here too, Queen, because you're doing it. And that little king of yours needs you. All right. That little prince needs you, and that big smile that he has from the work that you put in, he needs that. That's why I said to you, I wanted to hear from you tonight, because you're putting in that work. And I appreciate you allowing us to know your situation. Flex says they're also afraid of being abandoned. Yes, they're afraid of being caught, and they want to hurt you badly because the pain helps. The pain helps you stay right where they want you to stay. And to all my survivors here in the chat room, God bless all of you for making the moves needed to get yourselves out of that situation. And by you sharing it in this chat room and on this video, somebody's going to see this tonight. Somebody's going to read this tonight, and we may save somebody's life tonight. So I thank all of you for sharing. Okay, the last one, number 9. Number 9. Are we ready for the last one? Number 9, because we're going to try to get the second part of this in. I may have to go longer than 10:30. We'll see. All right, number 9, guys. Let's get the last maneuver, and then I'm going to move on to the second part of the show tonight. So we're right about 10 o'clock. We good. We should be right there. All right, number 9. Let's see who's with me tonight. Number 9. Actually, I got a bunch of people with me tonight. Number 9. Kim says they want you to think if you leave, they're going to kill you. Yep. Very true. That is what all these maneuvers are designed for, is for you to just say, okay, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. And again, it is designed to steal you. There's a number 9 from Tony. There's a number 9 from Kira. All right, here we go. And I just asked, I know you guys are watching, but you know, here's the thing here, injury. And you would think with hurt and injury, they go hand in hand, but they do. They literally injure you to send a note. Like, hey, what's going on, Brother George? It's Pastor Hawkins, excuse me. Good to see you. Good to see you. But like Nikita just mentioned about getting thrown through a fence, the injury is to serve notice. Remember to see how you broke your arm? I wouldn't have had to break your arm if you'd have just did what I told you to do. The injury also gives them an ability to have power over them too. Because if you got a broken arm, I can grab that arm and make you feel some type of way. you also need me to take care of you. If I break your leg, you need me to take care of you. Now you're in a misery situation, whether you wanted to be or not. So again, guys, I just, and I want to thank all of you in the chat room who are sharing that you've gone through this, because somebody tonight is going to see this and know that they need to be out that situation. And we as children of God, and I don't hesitate to tell anybody that I'm a child of God. I am a God. And what I know is that the Lord I pray to did not create people to sit around and be abused by somebody else. So if you're sitting there right now thinking you need to get out that situation, you do. Reach out. I'm here. This is what I do. Tony said, Flex said they have mother issues, in which we talked about family the other night. Tony says, afraid to go places because you are afraid to be questioned. You have to rush home. Got you. Your friends, exactly. And then Keita said, you provoked me, the best excuse. Yes, that's it. The blame game at its best. You made this happen. I would not have had to break your leg if you just did what I asked you to do. So let me move on a second. Okay, so here we go, guys. We're going to move on. Now, this is where, and I know I may not finish all of these tonight because we have survivors in the room, and the survivors can speak to some of this, which I'm going to fill in the rest of the pieces here, because I could only write but so much in the captions, and God knows there was so much to write. Why doesn't the victim just leave the abuser? This can be confusing to family and friends who want their loved ones to be safe and have a chance to be have a violence-free life. But also what's added to that. So that was interesting to me, and that's always the question, is why domestic violence victims may deal with severe abuse from their partners. They may still remain in a relationship. This can be confusing to family and friends who want their loved ones to be safe, have a violence-free life. It isn't always easy to escape the abuse and remove the perpetrator from their lives. It's an individual decision. Now, with the survivors that we have here, and since you've already let us know that you're survivors, how long did it take you, if you don't mind sharing, how long did it take you to get out of your particular situations? Because we always say, why do some women stay? But I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on how some of the women that we have in our chat room got out of their situation. Tony says he and she can't just be upset about a previous relationship and you can remind him or her. That's true. My ex-wife, and then they beat you even though they chose you and want to blame you. Larry says when you let go friends and family support, you are on your way. There you go. When they start, well, they got her 9 years. Wow. Keita says it took her 9 years to get out of her situation. God bless. I'm glad you did get out. And look at how well you're doing now. Okay, 9 years. I'm going to go on. I got a couple more that I want to give, but I just want to ask the survivors. So Keita said 9 years. Keita, do you remember the last day? Do you remember the last day? I always hear from survivors. They say they always remember that last day. And the few that I've sat down and talked with, they always bring up the last day, and they tell me, Mr. Keith, that was it. And I knew I could never go back. And I'm so happy. And I'm so happy for all you survivors. But let me put this on while you guys are figuring it out. Now, here's one of the things of why women stay. Okay? The pattern of abuse. Here's why women, the pattern of abuse may begin well into the relationship after a strong attachment has formed and partners have experienced major life events together. The victim may have been in a relationship for a long time. Many may live with the perpetrator, and many may be married and share children. These factors can become challenges to face when deciding to leave the relationship. That is the reason why I asked you how long, because abusers establish a connection. They bring up the wedding, they bring up the children, they bring up a vacation, they bring up the house, they bring up monumental events that go on in the lives that they've shared as if the abuse wasn't part of it. And so for me, when I think about how long some women stayed, is because it's not that easy just to be like, I'm walking out tomorrow, because part of it is I can't believe I'm in this situation. But I say this to say this. You do not have to stay. The women here in this chat room are telling you they are successful women because why? They're still alive and they're flourishing. They didn't need that man. You may be thinking, what's going to happen if you leave? Well, I can tell you this, you're going to stay alive and you're going to be okay. You got to put work in, though. I'm not going to kid you. I'm not going to play games and act like that's not the case. You got to put work in. You ready for the next one? If you're ready for the next one, throw a one up in the chat room. That lets me know that you're ready to hear the next one of reason why a young lady might stay. And if any one of you don't agree, ladies, that you guys are survivors, please jump in, because I am a man and I have never been in this situation and I can only do my research and try to bring to the table what I think to be true. But if I have not experienced it, I have to respect those that have been through it. Tony said, I was abused by 3 different men. And the last day with the worst abuser, he took out a fire extinguisher and sprayed me and all my clothes. I got my kids and moved out of town. God bless. And I'm sorry to hear that. And again, I'm not trying to trigger any negative feelings. So if I have, please tell me, and I won't address certain things, but I'm reading what I read. But the reason why I ask, sometimes you have to get the yes, you do, if you can, but be ready to go all the way, because I've seen women call the police come and then they go, never mind, because the guy got to him and made him feel a certain way. I've seen it firsthand, as I just explained to you. Just have a plan, but make that first step, make that first move. Say to yourself, I'm leaving, and then plan it, but make that first step, make that designation inside yourself. Say your prayers and say, okay, Lord, today's the day, that's it. And start your plan from there. Now, it may take you some time. It may take you time to put all the pieces in place to be able to escape. Or some, you may just have to run off with the kids and never turn around. Whatever works, but you can get out that situation. And we're going to have this conversation. Again, like I said, at the end, I'm going to give all you guys my email, I'm going to get your emails out, and we're going to hook up this Zoom room, because I want to be able to sit with you ladies and just listen. I want to hear all your stories, because I know somebody's going to reach out to me and they're not going to know what to do. And I know what to do as a counselor, but I want to know how to be able to tap in to every aspect of that to be able to protect them all the way around. So give me a 1 in the chat room. We're going to move on to the next reason why the person stays in this relationship. So hit me number 1. And let me see who we have here. We got Kim is in the room. We got Sister Tony in the room. We got Nikita in the room, Queen Nikita. We got Kim. We got Flex. We got Pastor George Hawkins Jr. Appreciate you stopping in for the first time, brother. We got Larry, my man Trini in the room. We got Kira. We got Flex. Katisha. We got Justin. Let's see. I think that is everybody. I said Kim. Yeah. Yeah. We got Tony. I think that's everybody. Oh, T to the Y. Lord, how am I forgetting my man T to the Y? T to the Y Jones is in here. So social workers, we got pastors, and we actually got a couple pastors in here tonight. So let me see. I just read. Okay, what's that? Okay. Keita said, my last day with him was horrific and life-changing. He wanted me to believe I didn't see or hear that I thought I did. One last blow, that was it for me. I had to do it for my prince. He deserved to have me here. Yes, he does. And I'm sorry, but I'm glad that you posted that. Thank you for sharing that. And every time I see you and your son, I know that he has a special one in his life, because you go hard for your prince. And that's a wonderful thing when you see a mother love her son the way that you do. And it's sometime in his future when you can sit down and explain what you've been able to do to get him where he needs to be at, he's going to be even stronger for it. Thank you for the ones, guys. Let's move on to the next reason why a woman would stay. And I'm going to read you the whole definition. I just gave glimpse of it for the caption. So love, a victim may be in love with the abuser despite the unhealthy relationship. The offender could have been affectionate at some point, which can make a partner hold on to the hope that the behavior will change. Now, this is a typical one, and I don't like to consider anything typical, but we see this. Oh, I just lost it. There we go. We see this a lot, where he used to be so good to me. He loves me. You don't understand. And these are things that I've heard. So again, if I'm wrong, I understand. I'm just telling you what I've heard. I've heard women say to me, Keith, you don't understand. He loves me. He's just confused. He's just angry. He's just frustrated. Kim said, I lost everything but God. Amen. That's what I'm talking about. And sometimes faith can be the last rope to hold on to pull yourself out. It's a great rope, but sometimes that is it for some folks. But I have heard, you don't understand, Keith, he loves me. You don't understand. We used to have such wonderful times, and he's the father of my children, and all of the other stuff that they hold on to that is not love. Love is not supposed to hurt. If he loved you, he shouldn't be trying to injure you or beat you and everything else. No, that's not the case. So we hear this one. I hear this one a lot, but it ain't love. And often by the time they realize that it's not love, it's in too deep. So going on to the next one, and I think we've seen this before, so throw one up in the chat room as we move on to the next reason why a person will stay in an abusive relationship. Come on, rock out with me. Give me one person, give me a one, I can move on. Y'all guys is playing, y'all not playing tonight. Let me put this up here. There we go. All right, here we go. Denial. There you go. Denial. Domestic violence can sometimes be hard to recognize. Victims may not realize that they are experiencing abuse, especially when it can be subtle, like intimidation or acting jealous. It also can be hard to grasp that someone that they love can be hurting them. So many may also think they did something wrong to cause the abuse, even though it was never the victim's fault. Now, all of us here know none of you women deserved anything that happened to you. But sadly, there are women who believe I must have did something to make this man treat me like this, to make this man abuse me like this. And it gets me frustrated because, like I said, I grew up in a house full of women and I was taught never to put my hands on a woman. And I have a special place of anger for dudes who do it. And anytime I've been somewhere and I see a man attempt to raise his hand on a woman, I step up and say something because it ain't going to happen around me. But I have seen when trying to break it up or step in, as I said, I have seen a woman go, no, it's okay. And have literally seen a woman get in the car and be getting it as they drive off. And I'm thinking, but I just was trying to help. And when I was younger, I didn't understand it. Now I get it. I understand it. So denial, right? Denial. This is what will happen is that they do not believe that it is bad as it appears, no matter. And this is one of the reasons why abusers isolate them away from family and friends. They don't want you chipping at the facade that they've created. They don't want you getting into that bubble to make them believe the truth, when the truth is they are trying to destroy this person, or they are actually destroying this person. And again, I want to thank all of you in the chat room that is sharing. So let me go on to the next one because we got a couple. Actually, I think I can get them all in before the night is over. Like I said, if I got to go a little past 10:30, I think I'm going to do that. Okay, moving on to the next one. If you guys are still with me, come on. Let's keep this going. Y'all got me awake now. I'm ready now. I'm probably going to be up for the next couple hours. Knowing me, I'll probably sleep. Actually, I probably will be up. All right, moving on to the next one. And you guys have mentioned this one before. I know I saw T to the Y mention this. I saw, I think it was Michelle mention this too the other day. So let's move on to the next one. Why a woman stays. Oh, I lost my what's name here. Okay. So did I? Oh, hold on a second. Oh, okay. There we go. Children. And I think I just saw T to the Y put this. Children. A parent may remain with a partner for the sake of their children. It may seem like the best option for the children to have a two-party household. Victims may also depend financially on the abuser, causing concern that they won't be able to care for their children on their own. It can, however, be more harmful to keep the children exposed to such abuse, as they are vulnerable to being hurt themselves and can experience trauma. I'm not even going to say can, they will experience trauma. Thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate that. Children, this is another excuse that we have heard. And it's hard because there is some validity to it. Oh my God, I don't want my kids to not have their father. Oh my God, I don't want my kids not to have their mother. And we can do so much for the children together. And some of these abusers are great fathers. And I'm speaking one sided, just with the women being the one that's being violated, is that some of these abusers, because they know what they do at home to their wives, are great to their kids. Now, I don't know how you hide that. I've never been in that situation. So I don't know how you hide that from your children. And if the children are hearing it, which is from the children that I counsel, I have learned that they do hear it. That form of abuse doesn't leave them. And as we know, and my social workers can back me up on this, children who witness abuse have a greater propensity to be abusive to others. And if I'm wrong, tell me. T to the Y, you're a social worker. Am I wrong? Because that's the way I was taught it, right? That children who are exposed to abusive situations have a greater propensity to be abusive later on in life. Talk to me, guys. Because these are the reasons why somebody stayed. These are the things that we want to chop up. We don't want to leave anything on the table. We want anybody that watches this show, reads these comments, to understand that this is super real. And let me just share this with you too. Congratulations, guys. Third straight show. We have made 100 comments, 100 messages. That's you guys at work right there, because I can't type anything. I'm sitting here reading my notes. So that's all you guys. So for the third show in a row, give yourself a round of applause as we finish off these last 3. I got 3 more that I want to knock off. So congratulations, you guys have reached the 100 plateau mark. Okay, so T to the Y, I'm going to put this one up. T2, I said absolutely right. Also, exposure abuse can put them in abusive relationships too. That's where I was getting to. That's why I was waiting for you, Ty, is because when you are witnessing to abuse at a younger age, you can and sometimes will look to be in relationships where you will become the abuser, or you will allow yourself to be abused because of what you've experienced. I tell parents when I'm working with them, if we don't know the depth of the abuse, then we don't know how bad a child's feelings or emotions have been affected. And this is what I do. And this is when I sit with kids, I don't just rest at the surface. I got to get deeper to see where this rabbit hole goes, because it may be deeper than I realize. And if it's too deep, then I got to stop and go back and say, okay, let's patch this up here. Let's go from here, because it may be something that we can't fix. So let's work on what we can deal with. All right. We got 3 more. I got about 13 minutes. I think I can get all 3 in. Now, I don't believe I had room. I think I had so many captions, I ran out of room. So I'm going to give you the rest myself. I'm going to type them in. This one, money and finances. Okay. Money and finances. So let me just take these captions out here. So I can't put any more captions in. So you guys are going to have to rock out with me here. But money and finances is another one. And I think I can actually, yes, I do. I think I can put it in. Money and finances.